Hi friends, Saul here with the Plane Fun RC channel. Just wanted to provide you with a friendly reminder that you can win this plane. But to do so, you must attend the Joe Nall 2024 event. For more information on the Joe Nall 2024 event, click on the link in the description. For now, let's start the build. Hi friends, welcome to the Plane Fun RC channel. I'm your host, Saul. And you're looking at the 75% scale Stabilator for the 75% scale Volksplane. What we're about ready to do is to go ahead and put in the last little bits and pieces on the Stabilator. The Volksplane has a full flying elevator, so therefore it's called the Stabilator. This particular Stabilator was built over 6 days during the 2023 Joe Nall event. So let's go ahead and get started with the last little bits and pieces. All right, friends, we went ahead and we put in our triangular stock in between each of the ribs, as you can see here, so that's done. Now we need to go ahead and we're going to take some 3/8 inch square balsa that you see here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to build up these areas of the spar, so that way the front sheeting will have something to attach to other than just the ribs themselves. So let's get our square balsa in place. All right, friends, we've gone ahead, we've added our spar toppers between the spaces, between the ribs, so we can bring the spar up and get it level with the top of the rib. So when we add our front sheeting, it's got something to grab hold of. All right, friends, as we continue our update, we're still working on the Stabilator here, and we're actually going to start working on the channel for the push rod that goes from the anti-servo / trim tab all the way to the rear of the fuselage, and I'll explain. So back in this open area here is where we're going to be putting the channel, and there will be a push rod that will go through this open channel that you see here. And in this area back in here, that's where the trim tab / anti-servo winds up being placed. And so therefore we need to build the channel first before we can go ahead and start making our control horn for the elevator. So let's go ahead and get started with that now. All right, friends, our trim tab / anti-servo push rod tunnel is done, and it looks fantastic. Believe it or not, a fun fact here, the full-size Volksplane actually uses balsa for this part of the Stabilator. So, and because it's not a supporting structure, it's simply a guide, because you can see right through that tunnel there That's where the push rod passes through. All right, we're going to get this glued onto the Stabilator, but not until we get our hinges bolted in place, because we have to create a little notch on the front here to clear the bolt for the center hinge. But in the meantime, there's other stuff that needs to be built, so let's keep on building. All right, friends, we're going to go ahead and start sheeting our Stabilator, and we have our first piece cut. So let's go ahead and get going. All right, friends, our top and bottom sheeting is on, and it just looks fantastic. I am just over the moon excited with how well it came out. All right, folks, we're going to shift our focus now to putting on some of the last little bits and pieces and doing some sanding as well. And we're going to go ahead and shift our focus also then to putting in our anti-servo / trim tab in the back. Let's get going. All right, friends, our end pieces are in place. We've got our plywood gussets as well, and it just looks fantastic. It's really starting to get that finished look, and I'm just really, really happy with it. All right, folks, we're going to shift our focus now to the trim tab / anti-servo. Let's get that on. All right, friends, as we continue our update, we are working on the trim tab slash anti-servo for the Stabilator. And what you're looking at here is you're looking at the actual control horn itself that's going to attach to the Stabilator. And what we're looking at is the full size. And what I've done over here is I've reduced it by 75%, gone ahead and I've cut it out. Here is the top, and here is the base. Now you're going to be using two of them, and you can see right here you've got one where the base faces left, one where the base faces right, and then what will happen is we're going to go ahead and take a 6/32 ball link, and we're going to wind up connecting it here between the two, and then that ball link will then get attached to some double-ended 6/32 threaded rods, or perhaps an aluminum push rod. I'm still trying to go ahead and figure out what we're going to do there. But we are going to be cutting the control horn out of 1/16 thickness right angle aluminum, and you can find this in any of your hardware stores. It's actually very light when you cut it, but it's very strong. And if you're doing a giant scale aircraft, you're looking for a particular control horn, can't find something on the market, one of the best things you can do is to go ahead and to make it out of right angle aluminum. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So you're looking at the 46% scale Hangar 9 ultimate biplane, and I needed a stronger control horn for the rudder. This was manufactured by a gentleman named Andy Kane a number of years ago, but you can see what I'm talking about. It's an excellent control horn, and that is basically what we're about to make now for the Volksplane for the trim tab. So folks, let's get started cutting. All right, friends, you can see we got her cut. She's rough, but we're going to use a grinder and get her looking good. Let's grind away. All right, friends, our piece is cut. The grooves you see are from me just doing some sanding, kind of rough, kind of smoothing out the edges. I will tell you that I learned a valuable lesson today. Don't use a grinder with aluminum. Because aluminum has such a low melting point, it really began to melt it and distort it, and you can see some of the results of that. Not good. So I'm not happy with this. We're going to redo this again. Good trial run, and I learned a valuable lesson. The best thing to do to smooth out the edges and to get it so that it matches the shape is use a disc sander. A disc sander works extremely well, and I'm using 120 grit, and it was perfect. That worked really, really well. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do two more, and I guarantee those two are going to look much better than this one does. But good trial run. So let's cut two more. All right, friends, you can see that our control horns are done. They just look fantastic. Okay, came out really great. Third time is the charm. And here's what they're going to look like once they're attached to the control tab. And here they are, attached to the trim tab slash anti-servo, and they just look great. All right, we'll go ahead. We're going to do the last little bits and pieces to the trim tab slash anti-servo, and then get those control horns attached. More to come. All right, friends, as we continue our update, you're looking at the trim tab, and what we've done is we've taken a plywood piece, put it right here in the center, and what that's going to do, that's going to help prevent the wood from being crushed when we eventually go through and mount the control horn onto the trim tab. We went ahead, we put one on the top and also put one on the bottom, and now we're going to go ahead and sheet the top and bottom of the trim tab with some 1/16 sheeting. So let's get to sheeting. All right, friends, the control tab slash anti-servo slash trim tab is done. It just looks fantastic. Came out really, really well. Very happy with it. Very, very happy. All right, we're going to shift our focus now to finally getting this hinged and attached to the stabilator, and then we'll go ahead and focus on getting our control horn in place. More to come. All right, friends, as we continue our update, the bolts that attach to the stabilator have finally arrived. These 3 bolts here will attach to the stabilator itself, whereas these 3 bolts will eventually attach to the rear former on the fuselage. These are actually aircraft grade. You have to have aircraft grade because the service is so huge. So let's go ahead and get our bolts attached. All right, friends, we've got our eye bolts attached, and they just look fantastic. One little tip is when you go to drill the hole for the center bolt, make sure it's a 1/16 of an inch wider in diameter than the 3/8 inch drill bit. That allows you to properly center that center bolt. All right, our next focus is going to be the center section here. You can see that nut is a little bit wider than the notch that we cut, so that's not a problem. We're just going to have to go ahead and clear away some balsa, and then we'll get that attached. And then more to come. All right, friends, as we continue our update, let's talk about what we're working on now, and that is the control horn for the stabilator. And what you're looking at is the plans. You're looking at the full-size control horn, and the way it would normally go is you'd have the this metal control horn. It would be welded to this U channel you see going around, and this is the box spar, this open space. And you can see the front view here where there is the control horn and it's welded to the U channel. And then it would get bolted to the U channel by through a 1/4 inch bolt that would then travel all the way down. But we're using a much more narrow spar and to help keep the overall weight down, because we have to keep the overall weight of the plane down below 125 pounds. So what I did is I took a rendition of the control horn, which you just saw there, with some minor modifications. We're actually going to slide it down over top of the spar. So in order to keep it in place, we've made 2. So these are from foam board for right now. These are just a rendition, a prototype, if you will. And one will slide down from the top, and the other will slide up from the bottom. They will then get epoxied together and then epoxied onto the spar itself, and that'll create a very strong control horn for the stabilator that will not move. So this is going to work perfectly, and I was able to fit them onto the stabilator without any problem. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to cut it out of this wonderful carbon fiber plate. So let's start cutting. All right, friends, we finished cutting our control horn for the stabilator, and they just look fantastic. Let's go ahead and put them on the stabilator temporarily to give you a better perspective of exactly how they're going to fit. All right, friends, you can see how the control horn fits onto the stabilator. And we've got one half where it's coming from the bottom, and the other half is coming from the top, and then they're going to be bolted, and this will be glued in place, epoxied in place. And it's perfect. And it'll be excellent because the stabilator is a pull configuration. That's why it's set up that way. So it looks great. Very happy with it. Very happy. And of course, here it is from another angle so you can get a better perspective. All right, friends, let's keep working on the center section, get this thing wrapped up, and let's go ahead and hopefully in the next couple days we'll get it covered. More to come. All right, friends, our control horn is glued, and it just looks fantastic. But what's most satisfying is the fact that it sits absolutely perfect with those bolts that are going to be used to help hold the stabilator to the fuselage. Very happy with that. All right, let's go ahead and get going with the other stuff. All right, friends, as you can see, our control horn is in place on the trim tab, and it just looks fantastic. Now, what we did is we went ahead, we used a fiberglass plate on the bottom to help evenly distribute the force from the screws and the nuts, so that way it doesn't crush the wood, and it works perfect. So we need to paint the fiberglass plate white, and we need to go ahead and paint the control horn white as well, and then we'll go ahead and we'll cover our trim tab and then get it permanently attached to the Stabilator. All right, friends, more to come. All right, friends, our trim tab is done. It's covered, and we went ahead and we painted our control horn as well, and that just looks fantastic. All right, we're going to shift our focus now back to the center section for the Stabilator and get that completed. Let's get going. All right, friends, as we continue our update, you're looking at the Stabilator balance pieces, and basically what it is that these pieces will get glued to both ends of the Stabilator, and what happens is on the leading edge of this piece, right all the way up here, we're actually going to put actual weights, because the hinge point is right here, and we want to balance out that Stabilator from the in terms of the leading edge as it compares to the trailing edge, because right now without that weight, it's just going to sit like this. But once you put weight on the front, it actually levels it out, and it puts less stress on the actual servo itself, because it's a very large area. So we want to make sure we relieve the weight of the stabilizer from the servo itself, which is what they would do in the full scale as well. It would relieve the weight of the Stabilator from the pilot. Otherwise, the pilot would have to always hold the stick back as though they were climbing to compensate for the weight of the Stabilator, excuse me. So let's go ahead and cut the pieces. All right, friends, the Stabilator balancers are done, and they just look fantastic. We're going to put these on at the very end, so let's move on to the other parts that need to get done. All right, friends, great news. The Stabilator is done, and it just looks fantastic. We have gone through and finished building the Stabilator. Now we need to shift our focus to covering it, and then once we're done covering, then we'll permanently mount the trim tab. So let's start covering.
I'm gonna take you on a ride. We're gonna burn through the night. Why you so salty? I'll still take a bite.
Okay, you can take my Lambo. I'll put on a tight show. You sure you can handle you can handle. Okay. You can take my limb. I'll put on a tight check. You sure you can handle? Way be faster than Django.
Can't stop, won't stop. I can't stop, won't stop. I can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop.
All right, friends, the white is on, so let's slap on some color. All right, friends, we have finished covering the Stabilator, and she just looks fantastic. Very happy with the results. Very, very happy. We just need to go ahead and permanently hinge the trim tab, and then it is 100% done. And then onto the wing. All right, let's get our trim tab hinged. All right, friends, the trim tab is hinged and in place, and it just looks fantastic. All right, friends, the Stabilator is completely finished, 100% done. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the wings. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And, folks, don't forget, you get a chance to win this plane, but you must attend Joe Nall 2024. The link will be in the description. And as I said at the beginning of the video, 100% of the funds go to Triple Tree and also to support the Young Aviators program. All right, friends, more to come.